Underground chambers promise adventure and discovery, ancient chambers carved by time itself. But beneath the Earth's surface, darkness doesn't just hide beauty, it conceals death. By 2024, over 200 cavers have died in preventable accidents worldwide. In the United States alone, an average of 15 people die underground each year from mistakes that could have been avoided. From a college student who squeezed into a passage barely wider than his shoulders, his headlamp flickering as the walls closed in forever, to an experienced guide who ignored his own safety protocols and vanished into a flooded chamber, to a group that split up in a maze of tunnels, their voices echoing until only silence remained. But first, the man who removed his helmet because it was getting in the way of his photos. These weren't cave-ins or equipment failures, they were moments when human arrogance met the unforgiving physics of solid rock. We begin our journey in the limestone passages of North Yorkshire, where underground rivers have carved deadly mazes for millennia. Here, flood-prone systems create death traps that can fill with water in minutes, turning exploration routes into drowning chambers. The warning signs are everywhere: weather forecasts, local knowledge, and the cave's own reputation. Our first victims ignored them all and paid the ultimate price in Britain's deadliest caving disaster. Case 1. The Weather Watchers Who Didn't Watch. June 24, 1967, Mossdale Caverns, North Yorkshire, England. 6 young cavers preparing for what should have been a routine exploration. Dave Adamson, Jeff Boireau, Bill Frakes, John Ogden, Michael Ryan, and Colin Vickers. These weren't amateurs, they were experienced local cavers who knew the system's reputation. The cave was notorious throughout Yorkshire for rapid flooding. They had explored safer systems together for years. This was meant to be their conquest of the far marathon section. As they geared up that morning, grey clouds were gathering overhead. Weather forecasts showed possible rain, but they decided to risk it. They entered the flood-prone system despite knowing its deadly history and pushed deep into the far marathon section, miles from the entrance. What they couldn't see from below ground was the rain that began falling on the surface as they explored deeper. Water levels started rising in the passages behind them. The cave system became a hydraulic trap, filling faster than they could retreat. Their voices echoed through the limestone corridors before the water silenced them forever. Rescue teams found all 6 bodies weeks later. Investigation revealed they died from drowning in rapidly rising floodwater. The cave entrance was permanently sealed after the tragedy. Their deaths became the deadliest caving incident in UK history. The lesson is brutally simple. The golden rule of caving is never enter flood-prone systems when rain is possible. Weather conditions above ground directly affect underground water levels. 6 lives were lost because this fundamental rule was ignored. Case 2. The man who grew too big for his childhood cave. November 24, 2009, Nutty Putty Cave, Utah, USA. 26-year-old John Edward Jones was exploring with family members. This was a cave system he had visited as a child, now returning as an adult. Jones was a medical student with a young family, intelligent and cautious by nature. He had explored Nutty Putty as a teenager when he was smaller and more flexible. He hadn't been caving in years, but felt confident in familiar territory. What he failed to consider was that his body had grown significantly since his last visit to the cave. Jones attempted to navigate the birth canal passage from memory. He took a wrong turn into an unmapped, incredibly tight fissure. He squeezed headfirst into a passage that narrowed beyond his body width and became wedged upside down with no ability to turn around or back out. He was trapped in a space barely 10 inches wide and 18 inches high. Blood began pooling in his head due to the inverted position. Rescue teams worked for 28 hours trying to extract him, his body slowly shutting down as hypothermia and positional asphyxia set in. Jones died after 28 hours trapped in the fissure. His body could not be recovered due to the dangerous extraction conditions. The entire cave system was permanently sealed with concrete. The lesson: overconfidence in familiar territory can be deadly. Physical changes over time affect your ability to navigate tight spaces. Never attempt headfirst entries into unmapped or tight passages. 2 tragedies, 2 completely different mistakes, 2 preventable deaths. But flooding and entrapment are just 2 ways caves can kill. Sometimes the danger comes from the water itself, not rising flood levels, but the deadly challenge of underwater cave diving. After the break, we're diving into the black water of Norway's most technical cave system, where panic becomes contagious and death spreads like a virus. Case 3, when fear becomes fatal. February the 6th, 2014, Plura Cave, Norway. 4 Finnish technical divers attempting a dangerous traverse: Kai Kankkonen, Patrick Grunkvist, Jari Huotarinen, and Jari Uusimäki. These were highly skilled technical divers with years of experience, attempting one of Europe's most challenging underwater cave traverses. The dive required precise gas management and psychological control. They were pushing the limits of their training and equipment. The fatal decision came when they entered a deep, cold underwater restriction despite rising stress levels. They continued the dive when they should have called it off. They pushed beyond safe psychological margins for their specific configuration and ignored early warning signs of panic and stress. The moment of truth arrived when Huotarinen panicked and became stuck in a narrow restriction. His panic spread to Uusimäki, creating a domino effect of poor decisions. Gas management failures occurred as stress consumed their air supplies. 2 divers died, while 2 managed to escape the psychological trap. Kankkonen and Grunkvist survived to tell the story. Bodies of the deceased were recovered in a dangerous operation. Investigation revealed the deaths were caused by panic, not equipment failure. The lesson: technical skill cannot overcome psychological failure. The moment stress levels rise dangerously, the dive must be aborted. Panic is contagious in confined underwater spaces. Case 4, 30 seconds from the surface, 1984, Sterkfontein Caves, South Africa. Peter Verhulsel, an experienced cave diver exploring alone in a well-mapped system with established safety protocols. Verhulsel was a veteran cave diver with hundreds of successful dives. He was known for his technical precision and safety consciousness. A respected member of the South African diving community, he had never violated basic cave diving protocols before. The fatal decision came when he abandoned his guideline to explore a side chamber just for a second. He left his only connection to the surface for a brief exploration. While investigating the side passage, he stirred up silt, which led to a complete silt-out situation with zero visibility. Completely disoriented in these conditions, he could not relocate the guideline in the maze of passages. He found an air pocket but was hopelessly lost in the cave system. He spent weeks slowly starving to death, knowing rescue was impossible. His body was found weeks later in that air pocket. Evidence showed he had survived for an extended period after becoming lost. His death reinforced the absolute importance of guideline discipline. The lesson: the guideline is your only connection to life in cave diving. Just for a second becomes forever when visibility disappears. Experience cannot replace adherence to fundamental safety protocols. Case 5. The man who caved alone. 1925, Sand Cave, Kentucky, USA. Floyd Collins, a cave explorer searching for a tourist entrance, working alone in unstable limestone formations. Collins was an experienced cave explorer and entrepreneur. He was searching for caves that could be developed into tourist attractions and was known for taking calculated risks in pursuit of discovery. He had successfully explored dozens of cave systems before. The fatal decision came when he entered Sand Cave completely alone, violating the fundamental rule of caving. He explored unstable terrain without backup or safety support. He continued deeper despite obvious signs of loose rock and instability. He put commercial interests ahead of basic safety protocols. The moment of truth arrived when a large rock dislodged and pinned his leg in a narrow passage. He was trapped alone with no one to help move the rock or fetch assistance. Hypothermia and exposure set in as he lay helpless. His cries for help went unheard for hours in the remote location. Collins became a media sensation as rescue attempts failed. He died after days of failed extraction efforts. His death sparked national attention but was entirely preventable. The lesson: solo caving is the most dangerous behavior in the sport. A partner could have moved the rock or fetched help immediately. Commercial ambition cannot justify ignoring basic safety rules. Case 6. Open water divers in a cave. 1992, Ginny Springs, Florida, USA. 3 friends with only open water diving certification entering the Devil's Ear cave system with recreational gear. These were recreational divers with basic open water training. They were confident in their swimming and diving abilities but had no cave diving training or specialized equipment. They treated the cave like a recreational reef dive. The fatal decision came when they entered a high-flow cave system with single tanks and no guidelines. They ignored the Grim Reaper warning signs at the cave entrance. They brought no redundant lights or emergency air supplies. They assumed their open water skills would transfer to cave diving. The moment of truth arrived when they became disoriented in the complex passage system. They ran out of air with no emergency supplies. They could not find their way back to the entrance. They died from drowning and air embolism in the cave system. Their bodies were recovered by certified cave diving rescue teams. This incident led to increased warning signage at cave diving sites and reinforced the importance of proper cave diving certification. The lesson? You don't know what you don't know. The deadliest phrase in caving. Cave diving requires specialized training and equipment. Recreational diving skills do not transfer to overhead environments. Case 7. Monsoon Season Madness. 2007, Nam Talu Cave, Khao Sok National Park, Thailand. A Swiss family, Georg and Helena Stairs with their son, on vacation with 2 Thai guides leading a commercial cave tour. This was a tourist family seeking adventure during their Thailand vacation. They trusted local guides who advertised cave exploration tours. They had no caving experience, but relied on professional guidance. The guides were under commercial pressure to provide tours regardless of conditions. The fatal decision came when the guides ignored monsoon season weather warnings. They entered a river cave system during the most dangerous time of year. They prioritized tourist schedules over safety considerations. Commercial negligence overrode basic weather safety protocols. The moment of truth arrived when a flash flood struck while the group was deep in the cave system. Rising water trapped them in passages with no escape route. The guides' local knowledge proved inadequate against monsoon conditions. All 5 members of the group drowned in the rapidly rising water. Their bodies were recovered after floodwaters receded. This incident led to increased regulation of adventure tourism in Thailand and highlighted the dangers of unregulated cave tourism. The lesson? Trusting local guides does not guarantee safety. Commercial pressure can override safety considerations. Adventure tourism requires proper regulation and weather protocols. 7 people, 7 stories, 7 completely preventable deaths. From flooded passages to tight squeezes, from panic attacks to abandoned guidelines. These tragedies share a common thread. The victims all knew better. Each death resulted from ignoring fundamental safety principles. Experience, skill, and local knowledge could not overcome poor decision-making. Weather warnings are not suggestions, they are survival requirements. Safety protocols exist because people have died without them. Guidelines, partners, and proper training are your lifelines underground. Remember the 6 cavers at Mossdale, who ignored the storm clouds. Remember John Edward Jones, who outgrew his childhood cave. Remember Peter Verhulsel, who left his guideline for 30 fatal seconds. The underground world operates by absolute rules with no exceptions. Caves do not forgive mistakes, and darkness shows no mercy. Every safety protocol was written in someone else's blood. Which of these preventable deaths shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you appreciate our deep dives into these cautionary tales, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Final Moments. Until next time, stay on the path and never go underground alone.